Hello, students. I want to record for you a worksheet to sort of look at a problem that some of us are having, and maybe it's just to consolidate our understanding. But let's look at the way we structure our websites, not just a web page, but a website. So we're going to do something with multiple pages. This is a website. And if we see down here, what we're doing in this website is we have multiple pages. We have a home page, we have a course page, we have a hobbies page. You'll find these instructions on D2L, and you can follow these instructions. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to build this website with 3 pages, and the 3 pages are going to be organized in a website folder system. And so let's look at that organization. So that's where you would start here, I think, is with the website organization. So I've got my folder here. Let's look at that. So what we need to do is we need to create a website folder with the instructions that are given there, and then that must contain 3 other folders. One folder is going to contain our pages. One is where we're going to put our images. Another one is where we're going to put our CSS. So let's look at the images. What I've done is I just used Google, and I Googled courses, hobbies, home, and I found some images in Google. I'm sure you guys have done this before. And made sure I saved them, and I took note of what the names of the files were very carefully. And I put them into this directory, and I took very careful note of where they were. So I know that all my images are in the images folder of my website. I have a file called index.html in the root. We call this the root. That's at the highest level if you're talking about the hierarchy. The parent directory of where these others are the child. Now I've got a special directory here for CSS. CSS, we've talked about that a little bit. That's our cascading style sheets. And we've just got one file in there. It's a special file, and it's called style.css. And the style.css is going to be where we put our styling so that we make our web page look the way that web pages look the way we want, because every web page in our website is going to link to this file. It's going to be a style.css file, and they're all going to link to that. So the other directory that we've got there is a pages directory. And if we look in there, I've got 2 HTML files, one for the courses page and one for the hobbies page. All right, so we would start working on this by creating the index.html. And over here in Visual Studio Code, I have created these files. And so let's look at them briefly, what we're going to do. And it shouldn't be anything here that's too strange for you that you haven't sort of seen before. I'm just going to pull it over here so we can see it all. Doc type, you know how to do that. HTML, 2 HTML tags. The entire document is between those 2 HTML tags. In the head, we've got the title, and if we notice, the title is telling us my site. When I open up the web page later, you'll see my site will be showing in the browser on that tab. Then we've got this special bit of code here, the link. What the link does is the link actually links, in this case, it's what type of link? It's a link of type CSS. And what it's doing is it's telling the browser where to look for the programming instructions for CSS, how to style the document. And so we've got a style sheet. And now what this is saying is it is in the CSS directory, and its name is called style. And that CSS directory is found directly from where we are now. The dot means the current folder. So from the current folder, go to the CSS folder, and then you will find the style.css. Now that would be, this is all happening in the index.html file. We see the index.html file is in the root directory. So looking from the index.html file, you would go to the CSS file, and that's where you would find the style. So that's why we say the current directory from the index file, we go to the current directory, and then from the current directory to the CSS. And so that's what that means. The one dot means the current directory, then to CSS. Now, that's the way we get to all these other things too. If we want to find our images from the index, where this is all happening inside the index.html file, from the index.html file if we want to find our pages. The pages are all from the current directory, one dot. Go to the pages directory, then you'll find a file called courses.html. From the current directory, go to the images directory, and there you'll find a file called courses.jpg. That's where our image is for this. Again, from the current directory, go to the pages directory, and there you'll find the hobbies.html file, and you could open that when you click on this. And from the current directory, go to the images, and there you'll find hobbies.jpg. Right, and then we've got a little bit of code in the, okay, so this all, what we're talking about there is a navigation part of the document. In the navigation, we've got all these href links. Href links we can use anywhere, but they're kind of like hyperlinks. But the hyperlinks here are associated with images. So what the person will do when they run this website is they will run the image. Now, this is what that looks like. This is the, if you, maybe you can, so you can see the tab says My Site. The tab says My Site. That's the title being affected. And then we have at the top here, this is our navigation. The navigation is there. Now notice those images are small, whereas this image is big. I'm going to show you about that in a minute when we get into the CSS. So we've got these small images, and they're all the same size. That was clever. We were able to make them all the same size. And so in the index, this is the index. What does it have? It just says, I am a first year. That's what this says. And then it shows an image. And this other stuff up here, that is the actual navigation. So if I click on, for example, this one, it takes me to another page in my website. And that's actually, we see here by the tab, that's the hobbies page. And if I opened up the hobbies page so you could see what it's like when I edit it, the hobbies page has these things. Now, if we look in our folder structure, we'll see where that hobbies page is. The hobbies page is actually, you see, it's not here. I would have to go into the pages directory to see it. So if I open up the pages directory, there we see the hobbies page and the courses page. So looking at the hobbies page, to make the hobbies page, I actually just copied the index.html and made some changes, right? Changed the title to hobbies. This thing here, I had to change the actual href because when we're in the index.html, we had one dot. But we don't go from the pages directory directly to the images directory or to the CSS directory. First, we have to go back up to the parent. So the two dots means go to the parent. So from the hobbies directory or from the courses directory, we couldn't start navigating from there directly. We have to go back to the parent. Then when we get to the parent, then go to the CSS. So that's why we have the two dots. The two dots means don't start from the current directory, start from the parent directory. And so that's why we have these things here. Now notice this is different, right? To get to the index.html, where's the index.html file? It's in the parent directory. So go to the parent directory. Then from the parent directory, that's where you're going to go and find your image. Now, what about the courses directory? Well, the courses directory is in the same directory. So we don't go to the parent directory. To get to the courses directory, we go to the current directory and just find that file. So that means if I was directing from the hobbies.html file, I would just go to the courses directory. Now, the image that will be pulled up there, though, has to be got to by going to the parent, then to the images directory, then there. So the navigation is the same but different. It's different because we're navigating from a different place, right? In the index, we're navigating from the current directory, and here we seem to be typically navigating to the back to the parent, except for when we're going to the other page. Okay, now what else have we got going on here? Some stuff that you've seen before. We've got an unordered list, and then we've got our page of hobbies. And so here we have our unordered list, and then we have our image of our hobbies. And notice that the navigation bar up the top, it's the same as the navigation bar in the other pages. So there's the page there. If you look at that, that's my courses page. Going back, that's the my hobbies page. going there, that's the My Site page. And the navigation bar is the same in all of them, but different. The same but different, right? Actually, the navigation bar in the courses.html is exactly the same. This stuff here in the courses and the hobbies file, they're exactly the same. Why? Because those two files are located in the same directory, so our navigation from them will be the same way. But if we look at the index, you'll see that the navigation is slightly different, right? We do everything from the current directory. We're not going to we're not going to a parent directory because, well, look where the index is. Well, you wouldn't want to go to a parent directory from index, right? Because that would take you out of your website, maybe to some not allowed place on a server, and so yeah, that could cause you some. Well, it would crash the search. So we wouldn't want to do that. So there's our website. We got a navigation bar at the top. We can navigate to all three. As I'm doing this, you see I'm moving through the pages. You can see the pages changing. Here's the pages. The courses page is almost the same as the hobbies page in the way that it works. And in fact, what I did is I took the hobbies page and copied it and just changed the name of the images. And basically it's almost, and changed the UL and the OL, right? So the hobbies has got a unordered list, whereas the courses has got a ordered list. And if you look at the courses, they're ordered list 1 and 2. And that's basically how that works. I think you can have a good look at that code if you want. There's not really much to it. That's the code for the courses. And if you look, you'll see the code for the hobbies is almost the same, right? Almost the same. And then so there's the hobbies, there's the courses, and then the index is just like that. And that, my friends, I think is probably enough to sort of get us going with that. All right, so